Alright guys, we have been going like crazy trying to get the rest of this thing put together, and it's starting to come together now. We got the motor bolted in, we got the exhaust kind of mocked up. We're trying to figure that out right now. We're going to have crossover pipe, and I'm just drawing and sketching that up right now with the, it'll have an X pipe over here, and then go into two mufflers, and then split back and go to the out the back of the roll pan. So I'm kind of mapping that out. We got our fuel lines mostly all done, our brake lines all back in it again, our gas tank back in it again, drive shaft back in it, all the front suspension all back in it, the rear suspension back in it. There's a couple things I'm waiting for our Caltrax to show up for our rear traction bars, so we can get our Caltrax in there. And once we get our Caltrax in there, then we can button up all the rest of this rear suspension and everything here. And we got our shocks in it, our brake lines in the back in it. I'm waiting for a couple brake hoses. We also made this rear sway bar for it. And the sway bar, we fabricated these brackets and everything here. And this is a sway bar off. Well, I can't release that yet, what this is off of. This is a factory sway bar for something else, not a pickup truck whatsoever. And we're going to make up some brackets. We're going to take the brackets off of here. We're going to tie in a bracket that'll tie in with that sway bar mult right there too. I think that's going to work awesome. So it fits just perfectly in between this leaf spring and the frame and everything. Our C-notch is all done. Our bump stops are all in there. Our calipers are all mounted. All our discs and everything inside. And all of that stuff was mint, actually. I unscrewed all the brake hoses on it, all the brake lines. The backing plates were just mint, solid as could be, not rusted at all. And that's just absolutely unbelievable on something that's 23 years old, especially coming from Minnesota like I am. This stuff is usually so rusted. I actually bought a brand new 01, and within 5 years the frame was so rusty on it, the brake lines were so rusty on it, the fuel filter and everything was so rusty on it, you couldn't take any of that stuff off whatsoever. That's what was such a blessing about this, and that's why it got to this extreme to the way that it was, because I just want to protect it the way that the factory should have done it in the first place. And it absolutely boggles my mind. They put that crappy, waxy, Make It Rust 2000 coating on it that just delaminates and holds water and moisture in. But now this is epoxy prime, cleared. We'll put all stainless exhaust on it. We've coated the brake lines with aluminum paint and everything with a clear coat as well. So everything we're doing, we're trying to make an improvement on what the factory did as well. But everything on this is new now. All the bushings, the control arms, the springs, the lower control arms, the ball joints, the tie rods, everything is new on this thing now. So we got our supercharger mocked up on here, and instead of just doing a non-intercooled setup the way that this kit went, it just goes right into the inside of here. We're going to change that all up. We'll rotate this, we'll change the direction of this charger. We're going to come through here with an intercooler in front of the motor and then loop it back around, so we'll fabricate all of that stuff. We got our air conditioning to go, we have our condenser, and then also our tranny cooler. So we'll have that whole new stack up of cooling and everything on here as well. So we'll have all new hoses, new belts, new everything on this thing. I want this thing like a brand new truck, but 23 years old with a little bit of horsepower upgrade. So around 450 wheel horsepower is what we're shooting for. We are getting super close to firing this thing up. So we're going to just wire it temporarily. We'll put our whole wiring harness and everything on here, and we should be able to just temporarily wire it up and fire it up in this chassis rather than the engine run stand and it was just easier to do this way, being as it's right here anyways. It's basically an engine test run stand anyway. So that's what's coming up next. You guys are gonna really like this. We're gonna get this thing fired up in no time here, so why don't you stay tuned and come along for the ride.